Do you want to create the best architectural photos you possibly can? Me too. So here's 5 reasons why I merge my photos to HDR using Lightroom and why you might want to consider doing that too. Hi guys, I'm Anthony Turnham. I'm a professional architectural photographer, and on this channel I share what I know so that hopefully we can all become better photographers and earn a little bit more money doing that as well. So HDR is ugly. Well, HDR definitely isn't as good as Flambient. Didn't HDR die in like 2008? Actually, all untrue, and when we're talking about architectural photography, HDR is absolutely alive and kicking. A lot of what we do as architectural photographers is to try and capture the space in front of us as faithfully as we possibly can. When we're dealing with interiors and exteriors in the same shot, we're often dealing with a really vast range of contrast that absolutely the human eye, which is a miracle, can handle, but the camera often cannot. So we have to employ techniques to cope with and compress this high dynamic range into one single file. So whether we're using the Flambient technique on site when we capture the photo, HDR software in post-production, a combination of masking with Lightroom's merge to HDR, or one of my favourite methods, which is luminosity blending, all of these methods are a form of HDR, dealing with high dynamic range. So why am I an advocate for Lightroom's merge to HDR? Well, I've got 5 reasons. Here's the first one: noise control. By combining differently exposed photos into one, the averaging out of those photos into that file means that resulting file has less digital noise, and therefore we have what we want, which is a cleaner, higher quality image. The second thing is a smaller file size. How can that be? If you're taking 5 photos and merging them into one, and that single file contains all of the data that was present in those original 5, surely that file is much bigger, right? Well, no. Every photo I take in its raw format is approximately 50 megabytes. So a bracketed set of 5 photos, 250 meg. Well, when we use Lightroom's merge to HDR feature to combine those 5 into one photo, that resulting file is actually only a fraction of the size at around 133 megabytes. Those numbers do change slightly depending on the detail of what it is you're photographing. However, those averages hold pretty true, so we're actually saving about 54% of the data in terms of the raw files, but it actually goes further than that as well and has a knock-on effect in our Photoshop files, because rather than bringing in as layers separate photos, we just bring in that one HDR file, and even if we're doing luminosity blending where we're working with different exposures, we're just working with that one instance, and we're able to shift the exposure based on what we want from that one single file. Therefore, our Photoshop files are also much smaller as well. Yes, I know nowadays storage is relatively cheap. However, when you're taking many photos over many shoots, over many years, those savings are going to be compounded. And so over the long run, you're actually going to save yourself quite a bit of storage and therefore quite a bit of money. Number 3 is nice and simple: cleaner libraries, cleaner storage. Basically, once you've created that HDR file, you really don't need those originals anymore. So I would keep them on hand until the job has been delivered, but once it is and your client's happy, all you need to do is keep that HDR file, because that contains all the data you need, and just ditch all of those files. So then when you're managing your files in Lightroom, you just have one photo, maybe some flash shots as well to go with it, but you don't have that complete set of bracketed photos anymore. At the end of the day, that's going to be a nice clean catalogue that represents that job. Number 4, the resulting file is a DNG. So why is that a good thing? Well, there's actually quite a few reasons, but I'll give you one which is my absolute favourite. And if you're somebody who's ever had a Lightroom catalogue go corrupt on you, you'll appreciate the value of this. Your camera's proprietary raw data only really saves pixel level information. Any editing changes that you make cannot be saved to that file. Adobe's digital negative file, the DNG, on the other hand, saves all that lovely editing, post-production information in a little sidecar that actually lives inside the DNG bracket itself. So even if your photograph is separated from the catalogue, or for some reason the catalogue goes corrupt, that photo still knows how it should be processed. But separate your camera's raw format from the catalogue and it goes back to being a flat, lifeless piece of 5, and probably the biggest point, photo flexibility. Now with that one photo, we're able to recover the highlights, boost the shadows without any fear of that photo just falling apart before our eyes. And that is why I use merge to HDR to combine my bracketed architectural photos inside of Lightroom, and perhaps you should too. It is super simple to do, but if you'd like a walkthrough of my process, just let me know in the comments and I'll put a video together for you. Thank you so much for watching. YouTube's algorithm thinks you might like that video right there, so why don't you click that, and I'll see you in that one.